case of just managing him?
Yeah, it's not a serious injury. He's evolving really well. He's done a few things in the last 2 days. Obviously, he wasn't fit enough to play with the national team the second game, but yeah, we are hopeful. We have a training session this afternoon. He did some bits yesterday, so let's see if he can make it on time.
Okay, I know you don't like doing the injury list, but there's obviously quite a few more habits, first of all, because was that precautionary that he wasn't with Germany and he isn't good to go?
Yeah, he had a few issues, and we've been dealing with that. He's been absolutely brilliant. He has very good communication with the national team, with the manager, and they understood the situation. Obviously, we have modified everything that we could do here, and again, if he trains well today, he's got a good chance to be fit and available.
And Martinelli, is that the same case?
Well, with Gabi, he landed yesterday afternoon here, so we had very short time to be with him. Yesterday he went outside to do a little bit and see how he's feeling, and again today will be another step and understand whether we want to take the risk if he's fit, because I know what the player is going to say, and he's going to be fit for sure.
Some of the others coming back as well, just wondered about progress on Odegaard. There's been lots of conflicting reports about where he is.
Well, I think he's not going to be fit for this game. Next week will be a different story. But again, in that later stage of the rehab where he is at the moment, because he's doing already a lot of stuff, he needs to clear some markers, he needs to clear certain things, he needs to be comfortable doing, especially with the ball. And I think next week will be crucial to understand how close he is.
And the last other bunch, I guess, Wright, Timber, Zinchenko, any of them back in here? And I told you there was a lot.
They are quite close, the three of them. Again, today we're gonna have to try and push and see who it is, because obviously we are a bit stronger with the numbers, especially in our right side. But hopefully we have some positive news today, and we'll have some players back for tomorrow.
Just want to ask you a bit about Kai Havertz. I sat down with him a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about the Bournemouth game and the moment when Odegaard handed him the ball, and I think Odegaard described it as a beautiful moment, and you said, I believe this is the start of something, and he said from that day onwards it sort of flipped a bit of a switch in his brain, and it gave him a level of confidence that he's been able to sort of move on and grow as a player and a person. And I wondered, the biggest change you've seen in him in that time, did you ever imagine he'd get to this point from the point of where he was?
Probably not, but I think that was a turning point for sure. I think the players took ownership, which is the best thing, and they decided to do something for the player. So that straight away made him feel special, it made him feel respected, admired, that everybody was willing and wishing the best for him. He delivered that day. I think the connection towards the supporters went to a different level as well, and everything started to click. And since then, well, the story is unbelievable. His involvement in every match, in what he produces to help us to win matches is incredible, and it's very positive, obviously.
When I spoke to him, we talked about some of the words he got around the place, like courage and resilience and respect and those sort of things, and he sort of said he really feels like he embodies all of those things. He feels like he embodies what this club is about.
Absolutely. I think it's an amazing role model, the way he behaves every day, the way he is as a person, the way he lives his life, how much he loves to play football, to compete. And part of that at the league level is to handle and manage difficult situations, and I think he's an amazing example of that.
And just finally, big news obviously this week with Thomas Tuchel's appointment.
Yeah.
I wondered what your reaction was, given that a number of your players hopefully will be playing under him, what they might get from a coach like him.
Wow, they're going to learn a lot. I think he's one of the best coaches in the world, in my opinion, without a doubt. His experience, the way his teams are set up, and yeah, very exciting times. I spoke to a few of the players. Straight away they had a smile in their faces. That's always a good sign.
Thank you.
Okay. Anita from PLB.
Hi, Nicola.
Hi.
Sorry, I'm not sure if you spoke about Partey when you were giving us the breakdown of all the players. Is he fit and will he be in potential to start tomorrow?
Yeah, Thomas is fit, yes.
And going back to Kai Havertz and signing him, obviously the fans weren't so convinced at the start with him not being able to contribute with goals. How vindicating is it for you and your team to identify the player of his potential and to now get him performing the way he is?
Well, that was the idea, because we believed that he could do it. He could bring to the team certain things that we didn't have, certain qualities that we were certainly lacking. But it was a big question mark because he wasn't producing what we required as well at that level a year ago or 2 years ago. But we believe with changing the environment could affect him in a really positive way. Every conversation that we had with him, it was very reassuring that, you have a player that is going to try his very best to try to accomplish the objectives, and then you have to make it work. And it was a difficult start, and at the moment we are in a great place.
Your defence has had so much plaudits both this season and last season, but you haven't managed to keep the clean sheet in the last 3 Premier League games. Are you concerned about that?
Yeah. Well, especially the way we concede certain goals with the little things that we have conceded to concede those goals. So there are room for improvement there. It's about being very consistent and making sure that we play with that level of urgency and cohesion and focus in every action, because in the last few games, especially at home, the way we concede the goals, I wasn't very happy about.
And finally for me, Bournemouth, a different perspective this season without Dominic Solanke. Only 2 wins so far from the opening games, but what do you feel is their biggest threat?
Well, they are very well coached. They are super intense team, really, really competitive, very clear idea what they want to do it. They should have very different results, in my opinion, to some of the things that they have, especially against the big teams and away from home. But yeah, it's going to be a big challenge. As the international break, going to a place like them, with the courage, with the intensity, with the purpose that they play, we have to be at our best tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ian, talk sports.
Hi, Mikel, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Thomas Tuchel, you described as one of the best managers in the world when asked about getting the England job. Pep Guardiola was linked with it as well, another one of the best managers in the world. Is it, for you, what does it say about the coaching by English coaches in this country that we couldn't find an English coach to rival those two?
I understand the opinions and the feelings, obviously, but that's a responsibility for the FA to say, okay, the first filter is only English managers, or the filter is any manager from any country, and we select the best for the moment that we are in right now. And I understand that it can feel sad for some people not to have an English manager there, and the history tells you as well how important this could be. But I think I would take a lot of pride that a lot of managers, a lot of people would do anything to become the England manager. And that's related to, as a foreigner, how we are treated in this country. You know, how much we love the passion, the respect, the history, and the way things are done in this country. And that's some stage, and I can say personally, that you feel so related to where you are, even you are not from here. And I think that's a huge thing that I think very little countries can say that.
I mean, you've been in so long that you're kind of English. If one day...
Certainly, I look English, especially in July.
If one day you were to be an international manager, would you say to yourself, because I'm Spanish, I only want to manage Spain? Or would you...
No, I tell you right now, you know, the feeling that I have, for me, this is like home. I've been here 22 years. You know, and I have that feeling towards it because I always feel respected. You know, I always feel welcome, and I always feel inspired by this country, by the legacy and the history of football, and how you get treated daily. And that's something that, as a country, I think you guys have to be so proud about.
Afternoon, Andoni.
Afternoon.
It's been a really positive start to the season, but you've lost 3 out of your last 4 Premier League matches. How do you transform that? Because positive performances aren't equating to 3 points, which is ultimately a huge problem.
Yeah, I agree. I think probably if you look at the stats and you analyze everything, and we should have got more points. But the truth is, we have the points we have, no? And right now, I think probably the big mistake we've made this first part of the season, start of the season, is the game we lost against Leicester. the other results, more or less, are quite logical. You know, we won the games we had to win, some good ties, difficult games we didn't take anything from there, but probably the mistake we've made was Leicester away last game, and we have to recover these 3 points that we lost there, and we have to do it now against top opposition, because now we have 3 games in a row against Champions League teams, so we have to recover those points in the difficult way. No?
The Premier League is back after the international break. I know a lot of players go on international duty, so it's always hard for you to work with the players that are left. But what have you been able to do in the last 10 days or so with the group that you've had to try and transform the results?
Yeah, it's difficult because we've lost almost half of the team. No, normally when it's an international break, you play against a big team. You think it can be a good chance because they normally lose a lot of players. But in this case, I think we've been quite similar to Arsenal, no? Because we've had also a lot of players playing with their national teams. We've tried to work with the one staying here. We've had collectively to prepare just a couple of days, no more. But at least I think availability-wise, everyone has come well. No injuries, nothing in their national team games, so I'm happy in that department.
On the theme of injuries and team news, obviously what's the latest with Tyler, who I know is back in training, and there was a question mark over Milos Kerkez. Can you just bring us up to date with the players you have available?
Yeah, I think everyone is going to be available. Yes, obviously different cases. You have the case of Tyler, that you know that he hasn't played a lot, no, in a lot of time, so probably he lacks some game time. Normal, but he's doing very well. He's feeling well, good sensations. He has trained very well this break with us, and he's ready. And also Milos the same, no? He had some days out, obviously, to recover, but I think he's feeling better, and we still have to train today, but yesterday both of them trained, so I hope they can both be available.
And it's also the case that Arsenal didn't look quite at 100% either against Southampton, and again they went a goal down in that game.
Well, again, it's a situation where Arsenal know exactly what they need to do this season. They've done it for the last couple of seasons. I think the first season was one where they tested it out and they was very happy that they can compete. Last season, very disappointed they didn't finish it off when they played so well to get to where they got to. And this season, they've started the season knowing that they're not giving anything in respects of margins. They know what it takes. You know, last season, in the second half of the season, Kels, it was so like 19 games, 16 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss against Villa, and it was enough for them tonight to not win the league. So I think that they're going out there as poorly as they've played against Southampton, and they're trying to get it done at the moment, especially without someone like Martin Odegaard. You know, you're trying to get it done without someone like Martin Odegaard, but like Southampton came and they made it very difficult, like everybody's going to do. And I think they overcame it again. And beat them. And that's what you've got to do at this stage.
Yeah, just playing through it and making sure they take all 3 points.
Yeah.
And Bukayo Saka is hitting incredible numbers for Arsenal this season.
Well, the thing is that he's somebody that...
Which you have passed on, but I'm just going to let you do them because
no,
there's
Kels,
loads of them.
It's just that he's consistency.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You know, he's constantly being compared to different players and what they're doing. But like his consistency since he's been in the team has been amazing. I think at the moment, out of the top 5 leagues, he's got the most assists. And people do ask about, well, how good is he? I'm not really fussed in that respect, Kels, because on a regular basis for Arsenal, from the time he's been in there to this point, and remember he's only 23, he's still delivering like top performances in respects of creation and even defensive work and everything what he does for the team. The one thing that we were worried about at Arsenal is the amount of games he plays, and hopefully he doesn't break down. But when you look at him, he's doing everything that we all expect him to do, and that's why maybe it's underrated.
So he's created 27 chances, 12 of them big chances, which means that his expected assists at 3.16, so assists that are expected to lead to goals, 3.16, but actually it's led to 7 goals. So it's the quality of the ball that he's putting through as well, and presumably the quality of the finishing at the end of it as well. And you say, well, people will question where does he sit and what's his sort of position in world football. I suppose the other way of looking at that, and maybe a more constructive way to look at that question, is what's next for Bukayo Saka, because every player, as you say, he's only 23, is going to be developing at that stage.
Well, what's next for him is obviously to try and finish off the season, win titles for Arsenal, win Champions Leagues, win medals for England. That's what's next for him. I think what we're seeing in respect to the way he plays, we know he's got a signature move. He'll go on the outside, he'll cut inside, he'll curl it in, but people can't stop that. He'll cut inside, he'll play 1-2s, but people can't stop it. The main thing for him is to keep working on the good things that he does. And then, obviously he's added goals to his games. He's adding more defensive to his game now, because obviously Arsenal being a little bit more defensive, trying to hold on to what they've got to a certain extent. But for him, every aspect of what he's asked to do, he does it. He does it well.
And he is sort of looking, as you say, he'll be working every day on trying to improve it. But where he is right now is so crucial for Arsenal. It's just whether, I don't know, maybe those players that he might want to be mentioned in the same breath, they have moments, they have games, they have occasions that kind of stand out. He's still got plenty of time to get one of those as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy conversation, because I think we're all agreeing that he's one of the best players in the Premier League. It's just this conversation, is he world class or is he not? And I think the only thing is he's only 23, so he's got years ahead of him to become world class. If that's what when you talk about world class, you're talking about Ronaldo's, Messi's, Maradona, Pele, players of years
pretty
come by.
much generational talent.
You know what I mean?
We have Messi
But
and Ronaldo at the
I
same
don't think
time,
Saka can't be that in the years to come. If as Riley said, he picks up trophies, wins the Premier League, wins the World Cup for England. He's world class then, because he gets his hands on the silverware.
The way you said it there makes sense, because that's what you expect. When you watch the World Cup, that's what you see. You've seen world-class players, and Zidane and Kaká and all those players, you've seen them, and they've won the World Cup. It's the way that people are throwing this about, he's not world-class, he's not world-class. It's really, it's just a clickbait kind of conversation. It's so annoying, it is.
Right, we'll leave that one there then.
Time for a break?
As we said at the beginning, it looks like the sort of usual contenders are in the mix at the top of the Premier League.
Yeah, I want to talk about Arsenal's walking wounded at the moment. It seems like the international break was really terrible for them. Bukayo Saka limping out of that Greece game. Kai Havertz didn't go to Germany because of his injury. Those are two players who've stood out for them at the start of the season. Yes, they have. And the one that you didn't mention who's still out is Odegaard. And I think he might be the key for me. When you go to the Vitality, it's a tight pitch, it's small down there, and sometimes you need that creative 10 who can just keep his composure, see those fine margins, find that forward pass, and he could be the difference, because Bournemouth are going to make it difficult for Arsenal at the weekend, without any doubt. They're still trying to rediscover the form they showed under Iriola last year. Obviously, Dom Solanke leaving is a huge reason for that. They haven't quite filled the void he's left, and I think it's difficult to, in all fairness. But they will try and make it as difficult as possible for Arsenal. Yeah, Bukayo Saka, I think, this season, and the numbers that he's put up, the performances. If we look at that last game, Southampton gave them a scare, but then Saka with 2 assists. It's the first time since 2022 he's managed to do that. And he scores the 3rd goal himself. In the absence of Odegaard, he's been incredibly important in terms of creating.
Fantastic decision-making. That left foot is a hammer. He's got pace to get in behind. His decision-making's outstanding. He is the complete player. And my only worry about him is that there are so many miles on the clock. He plays in games that he doesn't need to. For my money, I don't think he needed to play in either of the England games. I would have liked to have seen Jared Bowen, for example, get an opportunity on that right-hand side. And I don't think he needs to be playing, for example, in League Cup games as well. They have so much talent at Arsenal that he should be rested. And if you look at the difference between Arsenal and City at the moment, Pep manages that squad superbly well. Top players get a rest in games they don't need to be playing in. For my money, big players like Saka shouldn't be playing when they don't need to be, because you need them for tough moments like this.
Yeah, as for goal scorers, Kai Havertz scored his first Arsenal goal against the opposition they are facing this weekend. I think he's fulfilling his promise, is that fair to say? Because, to be fair, when
Kai Havertz arrived at Arsenal, people thought, well, what's Arteta up to here?
Yes, I think it was a transfer shrouded in mystery to a certain extent. Where is he going to fit? But he's an orthodox style. He's starting to really flourish at Arsenal. Yes. He's not a 9, he's not a 10. He's very awkward, but he crashes the box well. And he looks like he's starting to get comfortable in Arsenal.
Glenn, do you think it's because he's playing in a more confident side of a settled back four, whereas Chelsea were all over the place when he was there, and there's a lot of... Not in the early days, because obviously he scored a winning goal in the Champions League, but after, that summer afterwards, so much instability off the pitch as well.
I think he's one of those players that it takes a while for their teammates... We don't know what he is. I don't think they quite knew what he was, but then they learn his attributes and what he's about, and... I honestly think it's a masterstroke by Arteta. I mean, he jumped for Sterling, didn't he, in the summer? He could have had a 9. If he really wanted an out-and-out 9, Mikel Arteta could have went and got one. He doesn't want one. He likes the way Havertz is, because central defenders, they're not sure. Do they go with him? No. Do they stay? It's like he's a very awkward player where he plays in between the lines, but he has got the ability to hurt you as a 9 or a 10.
Yeah, we're talking about goal scorers for Arsenal. What about Bournemouth, who have been struggling on that front? Just, I think, 8 goals in 7 games. How do they fix it?
I wonder if this might be, it sounds ironic, actually, but this might be a set-piece game, might be a tight game. I think Bournemouth are very underestimated at home. Chelsea...
So Arsenal are going to win it, is that what you're saying?
Oh, pretty much, yeah. No, Chelsea, they had a tough experience there, because obviously Bournemouth had a penalty, which they should have put away, and they missed it. And Chelsea kind of escaped to victory, if you like. And it sounds, I was about to say, it sounds so ironic I'm saying that set pieces might be their only way, because Arsenal are so exceptional at set pieces. But I just cannot see this being an open game, because if they do open up, Arsenal have the quality to take them.
But would you not have said that about Southampton before the international break? They opened right up and they pushed them all away. And that was at the Emirates? Yeah,
I would have done. And that surprised me a lot. And I wonder if there was a little bit of complacency about the Arsenal side on that day, whereas they will know this will be a tough assignment going to the Vitality.
Martí, que si no está es por motivos de fuerza mayor, así que todo el ánimo para él, un abrazo grande y veremos si su rayo le puede dar hoy una alegría.
En troncos de Sergio García junto a Verdú, cuando ya se cogen esas cartas secretas. A turno de Aitor Vives, encara Aitor, arriba. Desviado el remate de Aitor Vives, la llega a tocar por Lechuga.
Días en los que quizá podrían haber tenido mejor resultado, los porteros han estado ahí.
Viene el balón para Manu, precisamente un portero es quien le da el primer gol a troncos. ¡Gol! En la frontal del área decide combinar sobre la figura de Paul Lechuga, vértice del área, probará con el regate, no la cambia entera, qué balón de Lechuga para Alegre, para adentro. ¡Gol! Espérate porque viene Fraile hasta la línea de fondo, la pone Fraile, el balón para Poc, que recorta delante de Ferres. ¡Poc! ¡Qué parada abajo! De Manu Martín, lo hizo de fábula.
Ha señalado cesión.
Libre en directo, eso es.
Sí,
ojo que la pone rápido en movimiento, los troncos para adentro. Sergio. ¡Gol! Vamos al penalti, presidente. Lo tirará en paralelo a la portería Perchita. Perchita ante Lechuga. Le pega Perchita. ¡Lo ha parado! Con suspense, con incertidumbre, pero acabó sacando finalmente. Pues venga, todo tuyo. Ahí está, algo bajito, capo. Verdú. Contacto con la pelota en el carril central, abre precisamente para Vives. El centro acaba siendo portería, porque evitaron que el pase de la muerte pudiese llegar. Pero si eres de Barcelona y quieres vivir la emoción de la última jornada en el Cupra Arena de tanto la Kings League Infojumps como de la Queens League, puedes entrar también en el centro y el remate. Ahora te lo cuento porque es un golazo. ¡Gol! Frankie Purti, irá Frankie para darle la vuelta al Rayo. Frankie lo ha parado. Lo ha parado Manu Martín. en la porfía con Ian. En todo caso, no se aplica nada y viene el ataque ahora de los troncos. ¡Lechuga! Román Alegre está bien. Gol doble.
Gol doble para Rayo. Sí.
El capitán de los troncos combina con Vives. ¡Lechuga! Era muy difícil porque le botó justo en el momento. Un penalti shootout. Tanto sonoras como lumínicas del Cupra Arena. Sorroche para el tercero. Lechuga. Decide combinar sobre Paul Román. Aparece Román Alegre que filtra el envío. El remate para adentro. ¡Gol de oro! ¡Cántalo! ¡Gol! ¡Gol! Del Rayo de Barcelona. Llegar y besar el santo Joel Paredes.
Frankie, por ti, Prime MVP, por fin ha llegado esa victoria tan esperada para el Rayo.
Sí, ha costado mucho. La verdad que aquí ganar cuesta muchísimo y hay que valorarlo mucho. Y como ha dicho el míster, al final hoy era un partido amistoso que encarábamos como preparación para el partido donde nos jugamos la vida, que es el partido de play-out del Mundial. Y esperemos que esto nos sirva para encarar una buena dinámica y encarar ese partido de la mejor manera posible.
Hoy no ha podido estar el Presi, no sé si nos estará viendo desde casa y no sé si le quieres decir algo.
Yo creo que sí nos estará viendo. Le mando un fuerte abrazo. Esta semana ha sido una semana difícil para él y espero que le anime, tanto la victoria del femenino como la nuestra este fin de semana. Espero que le anime y que le ayude a pasar la semana de la mejor manera posible y decirle que le queremos mucho y que vamos a dar la vida para que el Rayo esté en el Mundial.
Ojalá que así sea. Enhorabuena. Gracias.